In this video, we're going to build out the ultimate garage gym setup. But before we get into the equipment itself, I feel like it's important to define what we actually mean by ultimate, because we're not going to just take the most expensive equipment we can find online, throw it into a cart, and just dream about it. This needs to be something that is actually obtainable for some of the people watching this video. So we're going to make the ultimate garage gym setup that actually makes sense to own. And if you stumbled onto this video and you're looking to start a garage gym setup, but budget is a bit of a concern for you, I've also put out a budget-friendly garage gym setup. And if you're limited on space, I've also put out a budget-friendly, space-saving home gym setup, as well as an all-out space-saving home gym setup as well. So I've got each of those categories covered for you, so you can check those videos out after this one. Before we get into the video, hi, my name is Ryan Treadaway, founder of TreadawayTraining.com, where we turn skinny guys into jacked men. If you want more information on body transforming training and nutrition topics every Sunday, consider subscribing. Getting into the equipment, we're going to be looking at Rep Fitness and Rogue Fitness. And we're primarily going to be looking at Rep Fitness because since recording the original version of this video a couple of years ago, Rep Fitness has continued to make strides in their quality department without increasing their prices all that much. And so while Rogue is probably still the top dog, in terms of bang for your buck, I just don't think you can beat Rep Fitness right now. At the time of recording this video, at the beginning of 2022, I don't think you can beat Rep Fitness in terms of bang for your buck. And when you can get a similar level of quality for a lot less money, you can turn around and use that money to purchase additional things for your home gym. So it's hard to go with Rogue on some of their products when they're significantly more expensive, just so that you can have the Rogue name in your garage gym. And this is not a biased opinion. I do have Rogue products in the garage gym. I do have Rep products in the garage gym. I like them both, but I just don't think you can beat Rep right now. We are going to look at Rogue though. The first thing that we're going to take a look at is going to be the rack. This is going to be your centerpiece of your garage gym and going to be probably the most expensive thing in most people's garage gym as well. And there's two different lines that you can look at. For Rep, that's the 4000 series and the 5000 series. And then on the Rogue side of things, the direct competitor to the 5000, which will be the top of the line, will be the Rogue Monster series. And then the 4000, the direct competitor to that, is going to be the Rogue Monster Light series. And there are pros and cons to each of these lines of rack. Personally, we have the RML 3, and as far as which of these two lines of racks is going to be the one that's right for you, there's a couple of pros and cons for each that we need to look at. Starting with the RML series or the 4000 series when it comes to Rep, the main benefit here is going to be the west side hole spacing in the bench area. So if you look right here where my cursor is, you'll see that there's 1 inch hole spacing all the way throughout the bench area so that you can make finer adjustments for your J-cups and for your safeties. And if you're a serious power lifter, that may or may not be important to you. And then all the way throughout the rest of the rack, you have 3 inch hole spacing. And that's going to be the primary benefit to this line of racks. You will lose out on that if you step up to the Monster series / Rep 5000 series because there's bigger holes for bigger hardware, and it's going to be 3 inch hole spacing all the way throughout. So you lose the west side hole spacing, but what you gain is a wider variety of available attachments that you can attach to your rack, and you get numbered uprights all the way throughout the uprights. Every single hole has a number, so then when you go to put your attachments or your J-cups or your safeties onto the rack, you can easily see the number and slap it in there versus having to count holes. The Rogue Monster Light series has no numbering anywhere throughout the uprights. And then when it comes to the 4000 series, there is some numbering but it's every 5 holes versus every single hole that's numbered. So as far as which line you go with, it's gonna be dependent on if you want the west side hole spacing or if you want the wider variety of attachments and the numbers all the way throughout the uprights. And as far as which option will be right for you, we're gonna look at a couple of different options. So if we take the 5000 series and we build our rack looking at the 5000, and if we just build it all the way out, you know, balls to the wall as they say, and then we go with, I like 30-inch depth, and then let's say we go with the strap safeties is always the option that I go with. Let's go with a 6-post rack and then have that extra weight storage on the back. Let's go with a multi-grip pull-up bar, go with the nice round sandwich J-cups. If you're doing a 6-post rack and or if you're mounting to the ground, you don't need the rear base stabilizer, so we'll skip that. Spotter arms for the front of the rack. You know, if you have a power rack, you're probably going to be lifting in the rack, so you don't really need the extra spotter arms unless for whatever reason maybe you're working out with an extra person and they're lifting off the front while you're lifting on the inside or something like that. The front foot extension, again, if you have a 6-post or if you are bolting to the ground, you don't need the front foot extensions. Dip attachment you can add, but it's out of stock right now. Band pegs out of stock right now. We're gonna add a leg roller as well. And I've already added a few things to cart here. So this all out 5000 series, you know, top of the line, everything you can get on it is gonna be almost $2,000, $1,900 and some change. And then by comparison, if we look at the all out version of the RM6, which would be the direct competitor to it, minus the multi-grip bar, because you're actually gonna have to buy that separately. That's not even an option that's available right here on the configuration page. You'll have to buy the multi-grip bar separate, and we're looking at about $2,500. So, and there's also shipping on top of this, whereas everything, as of the time of recording, everything on Rep's website is free shipping. And for me personally in Alabama, it's gonna be about $100 shipping for this rack. So it's actually about $600 more expensive than the equivalent rack by Rep. So that's something to consider there. Now, if you do buy, you know, 3 or more big items from Rogue, you can eliminate that shipping cost, but still, we're still gonna be looking at $500 more expensive for the equivalent rack. And then if we look at the RM4 as it is configured by default, we'll do the sandwich J-cups and the strap safeties to make it equivalent to what we have over here. So just your basic, still the top of the line rack, but only 4 posts, no plate storage, because realistically you can get a weight tree for like $50 and save a whole lot of money from not having those extra 2 posts off the back. And so with this option, we're looking at $1,700. I've already configured that same rack here. We're looking at $1,000. So we're looking at almost $700 more expensive plus shipping. And again, that's gonna be probably about $75 shipping. So we're looking at about $700 more expensive for the RM4 versus the PR4000. And to be honest, I'm not even gonna look at any more Rogue stuff in this video because it's just gonna drag the video out, and I feel like you have my point at this point. You're gonna come out significantly better on price going with Rep versus Rogue for a similar level of quality. So we're just gonna exclusively look at Rep for the rest of the video. And so depending on which of these configurations you wanna go with, you know, that's kind of the prices that you're looking at. If you do the all-out 5000 series 6-post with all the bells and whistles, you're looking at right at $2,000. $1,200 if you're looking at the 5000 series, but the 4-post version. And then if you do the 4-post version of the 4000, then you're going to be looking at a little over $1,000. So about $900 cheaper to go with this option. And if you do go with that option and save that money, I'm going to go through a few money saving options throughout this video, and then we'll talk about what you can do with that extra money here later in the video. So the next thing that we'll need to add is a bar. So we'll go to a barbell. My personal favorite barbell that I have ever used is the Deep Knurl Power Bar EX. This thing has very aggressive knurling. It's very grippy. I feel like it's kind of the peak of knurling without being so aggressive that it's just going to be too uncomfortable to use. If you want a little bit less aggressive knurling, you could go with something like the Rogue Ohio Power Bar, which is still pretty grippy but less aggressive. And so let's add that to the cart. And the next up, we'll need to do some plates. So we'll go with iron plates. And personally, again, I would go with something like the old school iron plates, just your standard barbell plates versus something like that. It is nice to have those handles, those handholds there. You can, do some exercises with holding on to the plates like that and things like that, but they're a lot more expensive. So if we take a look at that versus this, the number of plates that you'll need, of course, will be dependent on how strong you are personally. So I'm just going to build this out for me, and then the price you would pay would be, of course, adjusted accordingly. So you will need a pair of 2.5s, a pair of 5s, 2 pairs of 10s, a pair of 25s, skip the 35s, and then however many 45-pound plates to total up to the amount of weight that you need for your level of strength. So for me, I'll throw in 5 pairs of plates. And so for this much weight, we're looking at $1,300 for that much weight. And I would like to throw in right here, if at all possible, go with used plates. If you can find them on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or something like that, go with used plates, because you're not really benefiting in any way by going with new plates versus used plates. It's just weight that hangs off the bar. So if you can do that, or if you can find a good deal, something on sale at a local sporting goods store, do that versus buying new plates. This is, I'm only showing this if this is your only option to go with. But if this is the route that you're going and you're just buying everything from one place and being done with it, I would still recommend going with the old school plates, because for the same amount of plates, so if we go 1, 1, 2, 1, none of those, and then 5 pairs of plates here, we're saving $300 by going with standard plates versus plates with handles. So if we go with the 4000 series rack and we go with the standard iron plates versus the handled plates, we're saving about $1,200 so far. And then we can use that to get other equipment later on. And then we will look at benches next. So adjustable benches. You could also go with a competition flat bench, but if you're wanting to get the extra versatility out of having incline and decline, we can look at something like the 5100 here, which is the bench that I personally own and absolutely love. It's $460. I have a review on this bench, as well as several of the pieces of equipment that I mentioned in this video. If you want to check out any of those reviews, check those out down in the description. You can get it in different colors. And from here, it's just going to be if you're going to add dumbbells or attachments or things like that. And so with some of that money that we have saved, if you want to go with one more absolutely absurd, huge purchase, then you can use that money to go towards a functional trainer, which is an excellent piece of equipment to have in your home gym. So the $1,300 that you saved can pay for over half of a functional trainer if you want to go down that route. Or you could use that money to go towards something like a leg press, that's $1,500. Or you could use that money to completely pay for a set of adjustable dumbbells. If you do something like the Ironmaster dumbbells, which I've reviewed and absolutely love, you can get the base set that goes up to 75 pounds per dumbbell and has the storage stand, and get the 120 pound add-on so that you can go up to 120 pounds per hand. That comes out to be pretty much a complete wash from that $1,300 that you save. So you get an extra excellent set of dumbbells for that $1,300 that you've saved. Or you could do something like the Powerblock Elite dumbbells. You could do the 5 to 90 pound set for $597, and still have half that money left over to spend on rack attachments and things like that. But the one thing to keep in mind here is if you do go with something like the Powerblocks, these aren't expandable past 90 pounds. So if you ever need more than 90-pound dumbbells, you'll have to buy into a different dumbbell system or get fixed dumbbells from then on out. But if you did go with the Powerblock route, you could go with the Powerblocks. So that's 600 of that 1300 that you saved, and then boom, another 400 of that 1300 that you saved. So we're up to $1,000 now, and then add on a landmine attachment for 89 bucks, and boom, with that extra money that you've saved, you have some dumbbells, you have a lat pull and low row attachment to go with your rack, and you have a landmine attachment. So you have just an absolutely insane amount of extra versatility added to your home gym, and you're still coming out a couple $100 ahead if you go with that 4000 series. But again, you'll just need to weigh out if you want to go with the 4000 series or 5000 series based on the pros and cons that I laid out earlier in the video. And looking at the final build that we have here, we have the PR 4000 bar, weight plates, adjustable bench, landmine, and a lat pull low row for $3,500. So the amount of equipment that you're getting for this price isn't that bad at all. And then if you add in those dumbbells, of course, that's going to bring you up to around 4,000. Or if you went with the functional trainer, then that would bring you up to around 5,000. And so, I mean, you're basically at that point getting an entire commercial gym almost for about $5,000. And keep in mind that if you wanted to go with the PR 5000 4-post version versus the PR 4000 4-post version, that's only about a $150 jump. And you know, you're paying a little over $1,000 for the rack anyway, so relative to the total price, $150 isn't really much of a jump. And so I would say, instead of thinking about the savings, just think about which rack you're going to be happy with the long term. So do you want the extra attachments, or do you want the west side hole spacing? And just kind of weigh those two things against each other, because at the end of the day, that's a pretty similar price that you're paying. And links to reviews for this equipment, as well as links to purchase this equipment, are both down in the description. If you want to check out my all-out space-saving home gym setup, you can click here. If you want to check out my budget garage gym setup, you can click here. As always, God bless you and your family, and we'll see you next week.